the name shadow side is so befitting because it talks about what is hidden in the dark, what lurks in the dark behind us, our shadow, more or less.
Mm.
So it's a side that we all have, and it's a side that usually a lot of us are very quick to be able to point it out within others, but we take a longer time to realize that we also have our own shadow, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
I think that's why, uh, how can I say it? Our shadow is like an answer to the invisible or sometimes indirect or direct wounding of our inner child, the younger us, before we were able to stand up for ourselves.
Mm.
So it came about as a way of trying to protect us or wanting to keep us safe from the experiences that we were experiencing in the world as children and even as we grow into adulthood.
Mm.
So our subconscious deals with a lot of experiences that we experience while we are here on earth, and our shadow is usually controlled by our subconscious. So one of the things that I really emphasize upon as a spiritual phoenix is, how do you know yourself if you do not know your shadow? If you do not have, you know, somewhat a level of control of who you are when you feel violated, who you are when you feel disrespected, who you are when you feel weak, who you are when you feel like you need to survive, or like who you are when you feel like you need to protect yourself, where you feel like you're in a situation that 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 that
Survival
pulls
mode type.
out your sense of fight. Yeah, yeah, like to fight, or
Mm.
like to choose whether you want to fight or do you want to take flight.
Mm.
So yeah, that is basically shadow work,
Okay, so
if I can explain it in terms.
yeah, all right, all right. So, what according to you will be the very first step in dealing with shadow work?
Um, I mean, there are four tips that I would talk about basically when it comes to dealing with shadow work.
Mm.
Um, Shadow work takes a lot of, it needs you to be very honest with yourself. Usually you'll find that people who are dishonest with others are usually very dishonest with themselves, because if you take if you can just see the world as a reflection of yourself, what is happening within you is being showed to you on the outside. It's like a mirror
Mm.
effect, right?
Mm.
So essentially, if you, like,
As
you
within,
have the
so
power.
without type thing.
Yes, that's very true. That's one of the seven universal laws.
Yeah.
Um, you have the power to change your perspective in life, and one of the most powerful ways to do that is to get a hold of your shadow, not to control. No, actually, not to get rid of it, because you can never get rid of it.
Mm.
I mean, we are human beings, we have different sides to who we are. We have good sides, we have bad sides. Everybody has that. The problem is that, you know, we live in a world where we grew up knowing that we had to be good, we had to be more or less perfect. Where, like, if we did something bad, we knew that we'd get punished. And as a child, you knew that, I mean, if you did something wrong, your parents, your teachers would like beat you. And
Mm.
then now you grow up, and if you do something that is against the norm of society, uh, you can get, I don't know, ostracized, or you
Yeah.
just, it's very hard for you to fit in with um with uh with with what the majority of society is doing, if you don't uphold their standards of what it means to be good or to be a good person. So a lot of people would shove down and repress that side of them in an effort to look like they have it all together, to look like they are doing the right thing or they're on the right path. So when you want to work with your shadow side, you have to know that this is an investment. It doesn't take 2 days and then, okay, fine, I'm in control of my shadow. No. It takes a lot of sitting and getting grounded with yourself, being honest with yourself, having those honest conversations, accepting the times when you lost control of your shadow side and your shadow side overpowered you and it destroyed things that you wanted to actually have in your life. Because I can say it's like a wild animal, right?
Yeah.
It's like a wild animal that is trying to break free. And if we show it that we are scared of it or we don't want it to break free, it finds ways to overpower us.
Mm.
So the first step would be to get grounded and find a place of centeredness. Being honest with yourself while you are taking yourself through the motions of getting to understand why you did what you did when you were in your shadow, and then forgiveness of self.
Mm.
And then the third step would definitely be to then be able to monitor and be aware of yourself. In other words, to reparent yourself. You have to be your own parent. Because as much as you will see when you get deeper into finding out why your psyche or why Gore, when you begin to dig deeper into yourself and you uncover some of the layers within yourself, you'll find that a lot of issues that you have are not even your fault.
Mm.
And this is the point where now you start to get angry at others, where you start to blame others more, especially your parents or other elders that were around you. And you forget that everyone is doing the best they can with the information that they have, number one. Number two, um, we all have a responsibility to to take care of how we allow situations to affect us and how we react. And when you reparent yourself and you become more self-aware and you have a level of mindfulness in your actions and the actions of others and the actions of your environment, whether it's directly or indirectly, you are then able to make decisions and choices that help you to evolve and elevate from who you were yesterday, who you were before you knew that you had a shadow, who you were before you knew that, yeah, who you were before you knew that you had a shadow side.
Mm.
So another exercise that I like doing a lot when it comes to my shadow work is the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is actually a Hawaiian prayer, where I would sit and I would meditate on maybe a situation or scenario that occurred in my life, and I would, I would really think about who was involved, where was I, how old was I, when did it happen, why did it happen, what did I do, what did that person do. And then the four parts of that prayer is: I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you.
Mm.
the I'm sorry part being the part of acknowledging that something happened, and that person, if they didn't ever say sorry to me, or if I never said sorry to that person, that would be the I'm sorry part. And then the please forgive me would be forgiving myself, and then having to also forgive the other person after I've forgiven myself. And then I love you. Love is the most powerfulest emotion.
Yes.
It is the most powerful emotion that we can ever, I mean, experience, create within, I mean, as human beings. And it has the power to really transform situations. So love, I love you. And then thank you, being thank you for accepting my apology. Thank you for forgiving me, and thank you for accepting my love. Even if you don't say to the person directly, it kind of forms like a sort of like an energetic vibration where in the spiritual realm or in the esoteric realm, that situation that wounded your inner child, that situation that wounded your inner child and caused your shadow to to get to a level where it is today, is then erased, and it helps you to lighten the load within you. So those are my tips when it comes to working with the shadow side.
All right.
Yes.
Well, well said. That was beautiful indeed. Yeah.
I think what I also say about
Emma.
I think what I could also say about the shadows. Yeah, I was saying I think what I could also say about the shadow side is essentially when we refuse to acknowledge our shadow side, when we ignore that we have a shadow, that we also are human and we make mistakes, which is essentially why we're here on earth, we tend to make enemies within ourselves and essentially with the environment. And the people who are closest to us, the environment that has to, I mean, when we have to interact with people on a day-to-day basis, when it comes to our relationships and the people that we're close to, these are the people that suffer the most because they're the ones that encounter our shadow in a more like deeply, like they're heavily impacted with our shadow side. And if we have not acknowledged or come to terms that we indeed have a side of us that isn't too flattering, it can be a problem, because now hurt people hurt people. I'm sure everyone knows that saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it also invokes a lot of unhealthy, toxic cycles around us and within us. And essentially, it makes the wounding that we already feel even deeper. And now we're spreading that wound everywhere. So when it comes to shadow work, also, I love to encourage people to look to to look deeper within themselves and work on their shadow, because that's where you get your spiritual enlightenment. I mean, I can't tell you a lot of the information that I obtain in terms of my spirituality and, you know, I mean, where I am at my level when it comes to spiritual work.
Yeah.
It has to do with a lot of reflection, a lot of shadow work, and a lot of, forgiving myself. A lot. Shadow work is very important. So, yeah.
All right. That was amazing. Okay. So how can anyone who's interested in finding more about your work contact?
All right, awesome. You can WhatsApp me on +267 743 10 425, or you can check out the Spiritual Phoenix on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter. Facebook, you can find us at the Spiritual Phoenix. Instagram, the underscore spiritual underscore Phoenix, and Twitter at spiritual ph2.
All right.
And then my email address, because you guys are always welcome to email me, is the spiritual phoenix at lafayette.co.uk. Lafayette is spelled LAFEFIERTE.
Okay.
And one other thing, the Spiritual Phoenix does weekly horoscopes content for the newspaper, the Midweek Sun. And you can also find us on Celebrity Magazine, which comes out every single month.
No.
I like customers or just people that are open to doing the work, and they're willing to hear the truth, and also willing to be open when they need help. I mean, I can't help you if you are not being honest with yourself and essentially with me. So that's also very important. Yeah.
All right, sis. Thank you so much for letting us into your space to have this chat with you. I wish you all the best with all your current and future endeavors.
Thank you so much, LJ, for inviting me. Thank you so much. I hope that everyone has learned something today. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. A huge shout out to all our viewers for tuning in. Do subscribe and follow to support the Unbound Traveler movement. Get the merchandise. Stalk us on Instagram and Facebook at 267 Unbound Traveler. See y'all on the next one. It's a wrap. We're out.